All right, everybody, we're going to get started here. My name's Adrian Chapman. Looking forward to talking with everybody. Trey, are you in here? Can you speak?
Yeah, I am. Adrian, thanks so much for having me join today. I'm very excited to have you participate in the one-day virtual conference. Do you mind if I brag on you for a little bit?
Please do. Yeah, that'd be great.
So, everybody who's in attendance, first of all, thank you so much for attending Adrian's session, for taking time out of your day today. I met Adrian about a year ago, had the chance to connect with him, and just found him to be one of the most genuine individuals that I've ever met. Very ambitious, but also incredibly empathetic. He works with people in ways that are really tremendous. And so I can't say enough about him. I can't brag on him enough. I'm very excited for you to be a part of his session today and to make that connection with him. And Adrian, that's it, man. Take it away.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much, Trey. I appreciate it. I kind of joked on social media earlier. Trey's my hype man. I'll send him an extra $20 for that later. He's a great dude, and we're thankful to have him and Hubtek put this event on, guys. This is really cool that we get to do this. We get to come together as an industry and people in a similar profession to talk about ways that we can improve and get better and grow our teams and improve our teams. So that being said, let's do some housekeeping things real quick. I'm going to jump off video here. I know you guys probably really enjoy my living room here. I know we're probably all doing a similar thing here. I'm going to jump off so we can talk, go through the webinar. There's a lot of content to cover. So just some housekeeping items real quick. Of course, my name's Adrian Chapman, if you didn't already. Run and own Cover 3 Consulting. We are a recruiting and talent acquisition consulting group. Let's see here. For the recorded version of this, we'll send that out afterwards. So there will be one. If you want to show it to somebody or want to watch the rest of it later, feel free to do that. And then if we do run out of time, reach out to me. I would love to speak with any of you guys on any strategy, tactics, concerns, questions you might have. There's a lot going on in the world, and I would love to just work with you individually, talk with you individually. So let me know. So let's get started here. Give me 1 minute, and we can kind of get going here. All right, if you have questions as well, feel free to type them out. I think that would be great. And we'll have some Q&A time here at the end. Let's do this. I want to jump over to the video. Can somebody let me know? Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yes, it's up, Adrian. You're good.
All right, very good, very good. Well, let's get started then. And really, just let me open this way. One of the questions that I had sent over last night was just I wanted to ask people, hey, what questions do you have on your mind? What's top of mind right now? Because there's a lot happening in the world. I don't know if you guys saw the unemployment claims were over 6 million this morning, up from 3 million. Wildly unprecedented. We've never experienced anything like that. And one of the questions was, why should I care about hiring when I may have to lay people off or I am laying people off? And guys, what a great question, because that's top of everybody's mind right now. With the economy coming to a screeching halt in a lot of ways, we have to ask that question. And my response to that would be is recruiting specifically and building a team. It's an offensive thing. So you're going to hear a little bit about me here in just a second. And I'm a former athlete and coach. And I'm going to compare it to athletics, right? If you got down by 3 touchdowns in football, you wouldn't just be like, hey, we're playing defense the rest of the game, right? We're not even sending our offense out there. That'd be crazy, right? So my point is that offensive, plays in business are going to be, business development, revenue, and even hiring as well. So I may not be able to hire today, right? I may be doing the opposite of that. But if I don't flex those muscles, right? If I don't work out there, if I don't continue to do business development and recruiting practices in 4 months or 5 months, when I have to do it hard and heavy, I'm gonna lose those muscles, right? And I have to practice things now and continue to keep in shape for that. So kind of laying that groundwork. Let's kind of get started and move forward from there. So a little bit about me, not to make it about me, we can move quick through this, but background as an athlete and a coach, that really prepared me for what I do today. Played college football and track and field. I spent a year with the U.S. bobsled team as well. So I really understand what it's like to have to recruit and be recruited. So I've been through that, and that's really what set me up to get into the recruiting world. After that, I jumped over to a company called Athlete Network, where we helped different companies all over the country hire former student athletes. And so I sold to those companies. I also helped their recruiters learn how to recruit student athletes as well. And then I placed a lot of student athletes while I was there. And then recently I've had a chance to lead recruiting for e-shipping and engaged companies in the transportation industry before starting Cover 3 as well. So I've placed thousands of people at this point. So I know what talent looks like. And I know what it doesn't look like, and I know what championship teams look like. And really, I will say this, when we talk about recruiting and kind of where I'm coming from, I believe that recruiting, it's the most important part of your business for two reasons. One, you're going to change the lives of the people that you recruit. Okay. And if you don't believe that, you need to start believing that. And if you don't do this exercise, think about your background right now and how recruiting has impacted that. Because I bet it's massive. You've probably shifted course in your life in a pretty massive way because of recruiting. At some point, probably someone said, hey, you're probably good at this. You should try this. For me, I can look back and say, you know, Adrian, you should try out track and field. I think you're fast. Hey, Adrian, you should play this position. Hey, Adrian, I think you're a leader. You should be team captain. Hey, Adrian, try sales. I think you'd be good at it. All of those things completely changed my world and put me on a trajectory to do what I do today. And that's getting to help people like you guys build your teams in a successful way. And then the second thing, why I believe recruiting is the most important part of business is if you don't recruit well, you're going to lose in life, you're going to lose in business. And the idea behind that, guys, is you could get the greatest individuals in the world that for a team. Let's just use like a basketball team, for example. Might really care, have really great culture, all on the same page, be incredibly intelligent. But if they're all 5 foot tall, you're not going to win a lot of basketball games, right? Right. And the converse to that is true as well. You can go get a ton of 7 foot highly athletic individuals, but if they don't care about one another, they don't care about the overall mission. Well, guys, you're not going to win a lot of basketball games. So you need both talent and you need both culture fits. You need to stick those together and find a happy medium so you can succeed and succeed well. So that being said, let's jump over here to kind of our game plan for today. And we'll kind of talk through that real quick though. How many of you guys are sick of this site right here, our statement on COVID-19? I know I am. I'm completely like flooded with it every single day. It's a little bit frustrating for me, but it's the reality we're in. Over on the right, you see a table that I think is really important. I had the guys over at FreightWaves send this out in one of their weekly surveys. So take a look at that. By the way, shout out to the guys at FreightWaves. They do a great job, and I'm thankful for them. I know you guys probably are too. But take a look at that for a second. The question I had them pose was, how has your company changed its hiring plans over the past few weeks? 13% said they're cutting headcount. 35% said we're pausing all hiring. 9% said we're only hiring essential roles. Only 4% said they're growing and adding new roles. 11% said they didn't know, and 8% said no change there. And they may or may not have been hiring at that point as well. This was a week to week and a half ago at this point, probably changed a good bit at this point. The reality is 60 to 70% of businesses in the transportation industry have materially changed their hiring process. I can personally attest probably 80% or more of my clients have said, hey, we need to pause. We need to change things. And that's just the reality of where we're at. So we've got to consider, hey, what are we doing from a hiring and team development standpoint moving forward? So that said, let's look at what we're doing here for today. Really my game plan for you, as we think about how do we build our bench, is we need to check in on our team. First and foremost, we need to evaluate our team. We need to market our culture, and we need to build our talent funnel, okay? So we're gonna talk through each one of those, and the reason why we're doing these things is because, like I mentioned earlier, we may not be able to hire today, right? But it's just like going to gym. If you stop working out, stop flexing your muscles, and when I have to hire, I'm gonna have a full pipeline. All right. And a full pipeline is going to give me momentum to say, hey, you know what? We've got some early wins. We can get back on the saddle here and we can do well. Okay. So let's jump in to really our check-in on our team. First and foremost, guys, my recommendation is touch base with everyone on your team. Okay. If you haven't done that, whether you're an executive or you're a manager, um, guys, people are scared right now. I talk with a bunch of people every day. That's my job. I'm in recruiting, right? And people are scared. People are worried about their jobs. People are getting laid off. And my suggestion is have a 5-minute phone call, have a 10-minute phone call, do a Zoom meeting with these people. And let them know what you do know. You know, if you've got information, that hey, you know what, we're in good shape. Hey, you know what, I don't know what's going on, but I want to know how you're feeling, and I want to provide the answers that you do have. That alone is going to give a lot of confidence to your team. Don't underestimate just having a conversation. What that will do. 2, create a scorecard. Okay, so creating a scorecard is something that I think is important because we don't know how to get to where we're going if we don't know where we are now. We need to figure out right now who has been productive. Right? Who's right now we may not be productive because the economy is crazy, right? So not a scorecard of like what's happened in the last 3 weeks, but over the last 6 months, over the last year, who's been productive, who hasn't been, right? Get some data here on your team. And I think that's going to be really, really, really important for you. And really from there, you're going to grade and rank your team, okay? And really start to build some action plans moving forward here. So you're going to ask the questions, who needs to be developed, okay? You're going to ask yourself, who needs to be given more, right? Who could we promote? Who could we move to a different team because this is not the right role for them? Are our benchmarks too high or too low based off of where we're at? And then you create an action plan using that data for Q3, Q4, or whenever we come out of this mess. That's really, really important. And I say this as someone who, as a recruiter, I need to know how to win the game. If I place someone into a role, I want to know exactly how that person can win, right? What is the sales quota? What is the attainment goal? What is the production level of an operations person? Or whatever it is, we need to know what good and success looks like in that role. And you need to know too. So start working on that today. If you suddenly find yourself saying, hey, I'm not recruiting or interviewing as much as I used to, let's do this right now. Okay. So that being said, touching base with your team, I wanted to share this tool. I thought it was pretty cool. It's called EntreLeadership's Weekly Report. If you don't know EntreLeadership, Dave Ramsey's company put this product out. They're making it for free right now to test out. Really cool weekly touch point. Help you as a leader. Let's just say I'm an executive and I can't touch every team, but I'd get a weekly report that says, hey, you know what? My accounting team is stressed out. Morale's not good. I need to check in. I need to insert myself. I would highly recommend at least taking a look at that and seeing if it'd be something that would be good for your team. And then when you talk about evaluating your team and creating metrics that are meaningful, I'm a big fan of the 4 disciplines of execution methodology. I'm not going to go through all of this today because that's a whole other webinar. But guys, check it out. I'll send you some information on the call later. But the idea here is focus on something that's important, act on measures that are going to lead to the outcome. You create a scoreboard, and then you create a cadence of accountability. So you meet once a week to talk about, hey, are we moving closer to the goal or further away from it? And that is going to then help you get closer to success in your organization, and really creating a game plan for talent acquisition. Okay. So that being said, let's talk about the next step in our game plan. So we talked about touching base with our team. We talked about evaluating our team. Now we need to market our culture. The reason we need to market our culture when we're building our bench is right now, guys, transportation companies are hitting pause or laying people off, and just the economy in general. We're all sitting at our houses. You just saw me standing in my living room here. And you've got a captive audience, okay? If you don't work on marketing now, you will never work on marketing. Like, we have to create something. So my goal for you here, kind of game plan, is create something like a video about your company culture, share that, post and interact with people, and then funnel that either to a landing page where you're going to collect some of their data and create a talent network, which I'll talk about more in a second, or a point person, which is either like a recruiter or a manager or leader in your company, which I would call a culture warrior. Okay. Now, when you create a video, you might already have something that's stock. That's okay. If you create something that's relative now, a lot of people are asking the question, what is my company doing to ensure the safety and stability of my team, right? During this crisis? If you can answer that question for people and they say, man, wow, that company's really taking care of their employees. They really care about their employees. That's going to be meaningful. If you can create something there, I highly encourage it. And the reason it's a video is, guys, it's 2020. I don't know about you, but when I see a video, it's hard for me not to click on that thing, right? So think about that. Share, I would say have every executive, director, manager share that video. When it comes from the top down, that is meaningful. And then when I say post, I think it's important to get your executives and leaders involved on social media, because I would have said this before this whole thing, but right now it's 2020, it's a lockdown. What a better way to get everybody connected than to start sharing and creating good energy and moving in the same direction by creating good morale, right? And when I say interact there, a good example of this, we had an intranet when I was at eShipping, and the CEO of the company, Chad, he got pretty involved on the intranet, and he would sometimes say things just like, hey, you're doing a great job. We really appreciate what you're doing. I can't tell you how many people would come up to me and be like, hey, did you see that Chad posted on, or he commented on my post? And it was like their whole day was brightened because they knew that that person cared about them and they were thankful for them. If you guys are not involved as leaders on social media, start doing it, right? Obviously be careful about what you say, but always be positive, and it's going to make a giant impact. And then funnel that back to where you're creating then a talent network. This is passive candidates that are saying, hey, I'm curious what's going on over there at XYZ company. I want to keep track of them. Of course, I want to like their social media, but I get an email, every now and then that says, hey, they're giving back to their community, or they've got another cool video. Suddenly, at some point, they're going to reach out and be like, you know what, it might be time for me to reach out to somebody over there and say I'm interested in their opportunities. I'll pause there and we'll move forward. We'll talk more about some pieces of this in a minute. Okay, the talent funnel. So I just talked about marketing your culture, and that is more of a farming way to recruit, right? There's different ways to recruit, just like and just different ways to sell. And there's hunting and farming. That's more of a farming. It's kind of a passive way to do it. The talent funnel that you see here, it's more of an active hunting way to connect with candidates. I love this. This is who I am as a recruiter. I love to go get people and help them. So I've recruited internally for a company and externally for different companies. And I developed this while I was internal. Say, hey, what's the best way for us to go, find good pools of talent, right? And, for me, I developed this with an idea of if there's one pool that's better, then we should put more resources in there. And we really need to figure out where to spend our time, because there's a ton of different ways to find talent. First and foremost, to figure that out, you need to define what talent is. We just created metrics earlier that should help us define exactly what talent is for each of our roles. And so now that we have those metrics, we need to go here and say, okay, we know what talent is. Let's define it for sure. And then now let's go look for them in the right pools that we need to fish in. So referrals, farmers are external referrals, people you're connected to that care about you. And they're going to send you referrals, events, online recruiting. And I group a lot of things into online recruiting, LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiters, things like that. That's a big strategy. And then third party would be people like me, headhunters, that could be helpful. And I kind of call those the tip of your spear. So let's talk through these real quick. And let's go through some data first. So I want to give you guys this graph here. Know this first and foremost, okay? This data is from me. It's not like a peer-reviewed university study. I've worked with a few different organizations to gather some data on really the likelihood you'll hire someone from each pool. So which ones are the best, or maybe the best value. Here's what I came up with for just hundreds and hundreds of people that have been hired from these different pools. Online, I have to contact 100 people to make one hire. Okay, and this is my data, so it might be different at yours. I just want to put that out there to start. On campus, I have to talk to about 10 people to hire one person. A farmer, so an external referral, 4 people to get 1 hire. Referrals and third party, I need to talk to about 2 people to get 1 hire. I think that's really, really interesting data, right? It might vary a little bit for you, but I've found that these are mostly true, the order in which these are put. So now, that being said, a couple things to note. Obviously, you guys are going to look at the third party and be like, yeah, of course the recruiter says he gives really, really good value there. So we'll talk about that more in a second here, because the catches were expensive, right? But referrals, guys, 1 and 2. Now let's look at that next piece of data here. That next piece of data says, what's your cost per hire? Every owner, CFO, talent acquisition expert needs to know what their cost per hire is based on source. So of course we cost more, right? So part of that reason is because that's what we do for a living, and that's just part of the price that you pay depending on what your need is, what your time horizon is. We'll pause on that for just a minute, but look at then online is still a little bit more expensive. Campus can be expensive to get out and spend dollars to go to a campus or pay for travel or expenses there. Oops, there you go. And then farmers and referrals tend to be less than $1,000. So think about this for a second. The referral is less than $1,000 per cost per hire. And I can talk with you guys afterwards about how I came to these numbers if you're interested. But then they're also your best value, right? 1 and 2 is getting hired. That's highly meaningful, guys. That means it's a gold mine. It's a gold mine, and most people are not taking advantage of their referrals. So one thing to think about that I've found is referrals make up 33% of new hires in an organization. Guys, find a way to develop a referral program, okay? Whatever that is, if that's cash, if that's $500 for a referral, if that's sporting event tickets, if that's gift cards, go find a way to develop a referral program right now. If you need help coming up with some ideas there, I'd be happy to give you some ideas on what I've seen work in the past. But that's a big pool to jump into. Next, farmers. Let's talk about that. Some good practical ways to develop farmer contacts here, guys. So as I mentioned, these are business partners or vendors or professors or coaches or pastors in your community, and they believe in you and what you're doing, and you want to develop a relationship with them. So when you do have a role that you need to hire for, you're reaching out to them and letting them know, hey, is there somebody that that would be a good fit for this? So my charge to you guys is this, right? Great people know great people. That's what you want to have, farmers that you trust in your community. I want you to make a list of possible farmer contacts, all right, in your community that would relate to your business. I want you to reach out to them right now, see how they're doing during this, coronavirus situation. Tell them you care about them, see how things are going. In that call, invite them to a coffee or lunch when this is over. Just say, hey, you know what, I want to catch up with you when this is over. And then tell them, I'd love to ask you for referrals, at some point for hiring, because I really trust you. I know that what I'm hiring for when it comes to culture and talent. And so I'd love to ask you about that and just kind of let them know. I know that can be kind of a hard or awkward thing, and some people are going to send you people, others won't. But asking for sales is hard too, and a lot of us have to do that in business as well. So that's my charge to you: is make that list, reach out to people, and continue to grow that list so you have that when you need it. Okay. The next thing here, guys, is events. Okay, people underestimate events as well. I think I said 1 in 10 in hiring there earlier. You can find a ton of success in going to events, whether that's a trade show, the Freight Waves deal, CMP, or it's just career fairs at universities. Here's my thoughts to you on events. Do a quick evaluation of your team. Okay, I want you to identify the attributes that most successful teams share, or team members share. I want you to take a look at where the most successful team members are coming from, and then see what's the commonality there, right? Is it a university? Is it a type of background? Is it a region? And then invest money where that talent lives, right? That could be something like, hey, there's a Hubtek program through the local high school, and we found we get a ton of really great, distribution and warehouse leaders from there. So that would be one thing that I would say is important. And then my last one, create that list and then see, hey, where can I develop talent moving forward here? And then the last thing is online, right? Online is big, guys. There's a ton of different information I could give you here. My advice, as we're kind of running out of time here on LinkedIn, there's different ones. I think these are 4 core ones that you need to use. I'd continue to actively connect with your ideal candidates and do that creatively. Again, I would use video. And then I'm always pointing people back to a couple of things, right? Your culture champion, someone who can just have conversations with people about, hey, here's what it's like working here. Or something like your culture video or landing page. With your ATS, pull out all those people who have applied in the past year that might be the right fit for your roles, filter through those and reach out to them and just say, hey, you know what? We received your application. Right now, the economy is a little bit crazy, but would love to, show you this marketing video that we put together or connect them with that culture champion. Say, hey, this is someone that can speak to what it's like working here. We'd love to introduce you to them, and then as things change in the future, we would love to talk with you. Let them know that you do care and you did see their application and you're interested. And then the landing page, we talked about that. This is a great place to just funnel things too, so you can grab data and keep people updated on what's going on. Job boards, here's a great time just to audit whether you're having success or not. Figure out if you're having any success, with, Indeed or ZipRecruiter. What'd you post? How many resumes did you have to sort through? And how many people did you actually hire? Invest in the ones that are gonna give you more success in this time frame. And then when it comes to third party, guys, I said this is the tip of your spear, right? Obviously, the biggest, drawbacks I see people, or concerns people have when using a recruiting firm are cost, trust, and success rate. I'll speak to those real quick. Cost, yes, we're going to be more expensive. Cost is relative to value. If you have defined what you need to be successful, I need someone to sell exactly this much. I need to know they're capable of this in this manner. I need an operations manager who's done exactly this. If that recruiter can bring you candidates who have done that specifically because you've quantified and built metrics that said, here's what I'm looking for, and they can bring someone of value to the table, it's worth it, guys. It's 100% worth it. You need to develop a good relationship with a recruiter that you can trust and does have a good success rate. So ask these questions as you're considering a search firm. Do they understand our value and our culture? Would I hire them personally? Would I be proud to introduce them to my family and my clients? Do they have a proven track record of bringing skilled candidates to other organizations like ours? My charge to you would be make a list of potential recruiting companies that you're interested. What a great time, man. Of course, we want to talk with you right now, right? Business has slowed down for us too. So even if it's just like hey, we would want to interview you, learn more about what you guys do and how you could be successful and what your process is, 100% we want to talk with you. And so make a list of those that you can reach out to so you're ready to use them when you need them. So that being said, that's all I've got for you guys. I've got some tools I'll send you after this call. Really the big thing that I want to say kind of in wrapping up is the companies that I see making the biggest impact when it comes to recruiting are those that give people a purpose and give people an identity. That really means they've got a powerful and meaningful mission. They wrap their arms around their people and give them a uniform to wear, a rally cry, and those people know they're a part of a family and a greater purpose. So think about that and who you are as a team, and let me know if I can help in any way. So that being said, I'll open it up for questions here. Feel free to type those in the chat. What questions does everybody have? I'll see if I can open up our participants here. I'm going to unmute everybody as well. So if you're not on mute, if you don't want to be heard, mute yourself. If you do want to talk, feel free to shoot me some questions.
Again, for those who are just joining us, the governor signing an executive order suspending face-to-face learning at K-12 school for the remainder of the school year. Seeing right now, along the next step.
All right, I muted everybody. Anybody got any questions? If you do, feel free to type those. Here, I've got one real quick that just popped up. one question is, how do you compete for blue collar labor right now? I got another similar one to that last night as well. And that their question was, how do I compete for blue collar labor versus Amazon warehouse jobs? Guys, that's a really good question. One answer I would give to you that is, what I see winning is I see people winning with culture, right? You have a chance to beat Amazon 100 times out of 100 by really creating an environment where you're keeping people safe, right? You care about their growth, where they want to go, and you're saying, hey, we're going to do things a little bit different right now. Maybe we can't pay you the same as someone in at an Amazon job, but we're going to care about you, and we're gonna keep you safe, and we're going to see what we can do to develop you a little bit further as well. What else? What other questions do I have? All right, I got another question. It says, so how do you grow a sales team bench right now when sales outlook is not very good? One thing that I've seen right now is finding people who have sold in a variety of environments, right? So go try to find people who have sold through, different downturns of the market, right? Find people who have sold through a recession before, and you don't have to add them to your team right this moment, but man, you really want to get to know them, right? You want to find if they've been successful. If that's a difficult thing for you, that's something that my company's done a lot of, right? We have found and developed relationships with successful salespeople. A lot of them do sit tight because they're really good, and so they're happy where they are. But in an environment like we're in, all bets are off. So I would say, hey, please just try to, connect with me sometime. I'd love to learn more about you and what I could do to, learn from you at the very minimum. So. Okay, now here's another question. So when trying to find someone to bring from a sales rep position to a sales manager position, do you have key metrics that you like to see outside of just knowing their processes? It's a great question. Key metrics, that's a good question. So if you're bringing somebody, and I guess maybe to be clear there, I'm not sure if you're asking, would someone be moving internally to a sales manager, or you're talking about externally from a sales rep position to a sales manager position. But I'll use that one secondary. Typically what I like to see is, what is their process, right? What have they done? What have they created in their own process that has led to success? So for me, I want to know, what have you done? And then have you repeated that as well, right? So if that's been repeated by training others, so maybe I'm a salesperson who had a chance to lead others. If they haven't ever led anyone, or they haven't repeated that process in any way, shape, or form, I'd probably be really, really cautious. Let's just say they are a team leader, or they could give me data that would say, yes, absolutely, here is someone who took this process and took my mentorship, and they used my process to help them also succeed. And here's how exactly they did that. That's someone that then I would consider coming from a salesperson role to a sales manager role. Otherwise, you do have to be careful, because there's a lot of really, really good people out there, but they've never led before, right? And if they haven't led before, it may be rocky. And now the other side of that is, some people are willing to take chances on people like that, to say, hey, I want to help them walk through that. If you're willing to do that, that's great, but that's 100% a risk. I want to look for someone personally, like as a recruiter, I want that to know it's going to be successful, is show me what your process is. Have you replicated that somewhere else? And then give me data to back that up. And if I can't get that, I'm less inclined to say, hey, you're going to be a good fit for this manager role. Hopefully that answers your question. What else? What other questions can I speak to? Guys, I've enjoyed this a ton. I want you to be able to get to your next session here if you're trying to get to that. If you are interested in connecting with me, find me on LinkedIn, Adrian Chapman. Shoot me an email. I'm going to email everybody who was here. And, feel free to look us up online. Really enjoyed speaking with everybody here. I hope these things are helpful. If you've got questions, comments, let me know. We'll also send out a survey. I would love genuine, honest feedback. There's nothing better to me than genuine, honest feedback, whether that's, hey, this was something that didn't help me and here's why, or hey, Adrian, this candidate was really not a good fit, right? I need to get better and I want to get better so I can help you guys get better. So best of luck today. If you need anything, give me a shout. Thanks, guys.